quick technical note on nuclear containment. The best way to see nuclear containment is as the concrete is temporary works, that the Portland cement is temporary works, and that the actual containment structure is made from aggregate chips. So see this massively thick, 3-meter thick, circular concrete tank around the pressure vessel, and the concrete is currently shielding us with its properties. And we need to make sure those properties are maintained forever. And so have it relying on the elastic bond of Portland cement is bound to fail at some point. So we need a plan of what we're going to do to maintain the integrity of the concrete of those containment vessels. So what I'm proposing is that we introduce a molecular scale, a crack pattern, a hexagonal crack pattern, matching the D6 surface through replicating of strength through the aggregate bond, so that when the Portland cement switches off, literally it will go from glue to no glue in one go. We need that aggregate to stay exactly where it is, but have strength from somewhere else to hold it there. And we're going to use the strength of the elastic band. This is my proposal. So here's a pressure vessel. We're looking at a tank wall. We need to be seeing the concrete face. Around the area that I'm proposing, there's a 3, 6, 9 strain progression crack pattern. So at 3, 6 and 9, relative to the height of the tank, there will be crack. Strain progression will be, that's where the force is really coming strong. So we'll leave those alone, and we put, what we do is we saw cut in between the 3 and the 6. There, we do those 2 bands in between the 3 and the 6. Saw cut as deep as we dare to go, and then we take an elastic band about 6 inches wide, fixed to one point, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap that around the saw, over the saw cuts, permanent works, pulling it as tight as we can around and building up elastic strength as a rubber band, building up it'll be kind of, I'm imagining once we've built it up, it's been semicircular kind of in section, as you just keep wrapping the elastic bands around. Before we put the band on, we attach a bilaminar structure of steel, martensite, super hard shell, like this, the material, the metal that makes artillery shells. It's really hard, and because what I want is really thin, and it's strong in compression, because we're going to hold it in a circle, so it'll be strong in compression. The other face will be made from graphene, because it has the hexagonal molecular structure that we want to enforce into the concrete as a new instruction for memory. So before we put the plan would be saw cut, a graphene band, the width of the rubber band that we're going to put over the top of it. When it meets itself, it's important that the graphene is also compressible, so that where you cut the ends, the overlap, there's no overlap up and down. So the bands can overlap, but it doesn't matter. What we're looking for is compressive strength, circular, so that the 2 ends of the graphene must meet as a perfectly glued joint, hexagonally perfect. Then there's the steel, there's a bilaminar layer, and then the rubber bands, right? So we build those up. So now we've got the tank held by these 2 rubber bands, matching the elastic strength of the concrete that underlies them. That's putting a force of fracture into the glue. It's trying to break the glue. It's trying to turn it into powder again through compressive force, which is what we've done, but we should just have imbalance. Now what we do is we continue the saw cuts, top and bottom, so we've saw cut the whole thing. Now the saw cuts are arranged so that there are 144 segments of wall matching the wheel of progression of time. 144 slabs now, can you see? Cutting in towards the center, each one. Big tank, we've cuts on them. So we've continued those cuts all the way, making the 144 slabs. And now we take our elastic band and we begin to wrap it round from the bottom, working up. Yeah. And we end up with a tank, I believe, a tank wall. I'm not sure, I need to do the experiment. Either it will follow the triangular, to be really fat at the bottom, and then a triangle of elastic band getting thinner at the top, or it'll be a sphere. So we're trying to get mass into the middle so that you end up with a sphere, and I think that's more likely, to be honest, that we're going to go for the spherical tank, so it'll end up looking like a massive rubber band ball. Yeah, that's what we're going to have. So what we're trying to do then, as we build, is that as we build up that strength, we will overcome the Newton strength of the elastic bond of the concrete, and the Portland cement will be overcome and it will just fracture in one go. But the tank won't go anywhere. Yeah, the aggregate interlock of the faces will remain exactly as it is now. There'll be a shuffling up. There'll be a dilatant effect as the faces of the aggregate chips all shuffle up. Where there were bits of glue in between, they'll just smash them to nothing. They will not exist. Literally, the cement will not exist as a material anymore because it's the water, and the water will have escaped. So there's interstices there instead. So the tank will stand up, and what I'm imagining is that the molecular structure from the graphene, the hexagons, is now being forced by massive elastic strength from the outside into the tank wall structure against the pressure vessel inside. Okay. So can you see that now? We've turned the nuclear containment at Hinkley Point B and at Charles Funneth into these giant rubber balls of slabs. What will happen is they'll pulse. They'll begin to pulse. The Levy disk proves 1915 that there's a pulsing effect. 1906 in fact he proved it, but 1915 he demonstrates it. It's a pulsing effect in the tank wall from the rotation of the Levy disk water. The water molecule strength is expressed now in the cylinder wall. So by us creating as a giant rubber ball, that's why I think it's a sphere, rubber ball, we've recreated a water molecule elastically strength. And so it'll just pulse. And it will become an energy source forever because it will get hot. It'll get hot from the pulsing, yeah, replicating the motion of the universe. So accepting that the Earth is the centre of the cosmos and that the sun is the centre of the solar system, the sun goes around us, but we're the centre of the cosmos, accepting that that's where the energy comes from, and the proof is that these things pulse. And if they don't pulse, I'm wrong. If they do pulse, I'm right. So there's my experiment that I'm doing with my PhD right now. So from a technical note perspective, I'm just talking through the method statement of how we get there, what we're trying to do, and how we're trying to get there. To prove the Earth's the centre of the universe and to have unlimited energy source from currently what's a fucking bomb to turn it into something valuable for humanity. And that's civil engineering. And all the institution of civil engineers has to do is to reference Dr. Victor Levy, and then I can present my PhD and prove all this is true. And nuclear containment can become something beautiful for us. And the future begins. Future begins because it shows that why do UAPs are regularly seen over nuclear power stations? Why? It's because there's a polar twist in the ether above it, in the elastic plan. There's a twist. It's created from the force of stationary water being forced. At nuclear power stations, it creates a pole above it of energy. And so the UAPs gather there to refuel, if you like. So it shows what slaves we are, because the nuclear power stations they pretend that they're for energy, but actually their purpose is for the energy source for the UAPs from the interdimensional entities that actually run this planet. But we've worked it out. So by working out, we then take control. And so we are the most powerful creatures in the universe. In our observable cosmos, we are mankind, but we need to act collectively together. And we have to believe that the higher perspective exists. One, provable, true. Paul Dean Charlton II has done it. The observer description is active, benevolent love, and that fits as your job. So you are a kinesin, exactly as the molecular postman, you are a kinesin too. Your job is to deliver active, benevolent love to everywhere in your environment where you go, to nature and to people, most of all to God. So it makes sense of Christ's greatest commandment: love your God with all your heart, with all your mind and all your soul, and love your neighbour. Just the same thing. It's just active, benevolent love. Get on with your job. Technical not over. See you in the future.